he drops off, I will we'll wait. I'll talk to his guest, and then we'll come back in. But I want Scott and his guest to be able to have as much time as they possibly can. And for those people listening in, this will be back up on the radio show, a day or so or something like that. If you go back to buildingfortunesradio.com, search for Scott Johnson, you'll see it there. I don't think I'll give him a mean title, like we brought a Yankees fan on our radio show. No, I don't think I'll be that mean. But having said that, Scott, thanks for being here on your own radio show.
Hey, Peter, thanks for having me. And your protest has been recorded, so that makes it official. Like we usually lead in on this show for any new listeners that might be out there, I have two major problems with MLM. One is what you mentioned, the tool scam. And to talk about that a little bit, to define it, what that is the Amway upper-level distributors, they call them IBOs now, independent business owners. They have tools which include things like tickets to meetings, books, recordings, phone apps, websites, voicemail. There's just all kinds of things that are supposed to inform and motivate their downline. And in my opinion, they do a decent job of that. The problem with the tools is they make a huge amount of money, and I don't have a problem with people making money either, but they don't talk about it. They pretend, they lie by omission, that their success came from Amway, and really most of it came from the tool scam, the Amway Tool Scam. The corporation knows about this. They've known about it for a very long time. Rich DeVos, one of the two co-founders of Amway, made a recording back in 1983, and he said, you guys need to knock it off or else I'm going to take some serious action. That never happened. It continues to this day. Now, not all MLMs have tool scams. Some even prohibit it. But Amway's is on steroids. I have not found another MLM that has as lucrative of a tool scam as Amway. There might be one out there. I just don't know about it. Now, the other big problem, which I think applies to most MLMs, I don't think it's all MLMs, but most of them, is the lack of retail sales. And when I say retail sales, I'm talking about sales to people who are not distributors, people who are not part of the MLM compensation plan. So there's nothing in it for them except looking at the product, looking at the price, and making a yes-no decision on whether to purchase it. And because most MLM products are so overpriced, there's very little retail sales, and that's actually the definition of an illegal products or services are being purchased by the insiders, so to speak, the distributors, the IBOs. That's an illegal pyramid, and the FTC is very clear on that issue. I'm disappointed in the FTC because they go after individual companies, but to date they have not put out a policy that defines that, and I hope they do. And all of this information I'm talking about, the best place to find it is on my Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com/ScottTexJohnson, ScottTexJohnson, you'll see 3 websites, links to the 3 websites. You'll see a link to my YouTube channel, which has that Rich DeVos speech. And you'll find my email and the link to this radio show. So it's all there on my Facebook page, all those links. And there's lots of details in there. There's a whole bunch of details documenting the size of the tool scam. It is a lot. It's up to 10 times more, and maybe even more than 10 times of what they make from Amway. And so their real business really is the tools, not Amway. Amway's the bait, and the tools is the switch. So that's, the whole situation in a nutshell. So yeah, we have a super guest today. He populates at least one Anti-MLM Huns YouTube channel, and I know he's agreed with me at times with his comments on that channel, but he's often disagreed. He's often, said derogatory things towards me, and that's fine. I believe in free speech, so that's why I invited them here, is to exercise this free speech. So let me introduce, his name is Kevin, and he also goes by Baddog on YouTube. And so I just wanted to introduce him in such a way that, because he was in Amway, actually Quickstar, when it was Quickstar for several years, in 1999 to about 2000. It was phased out between 2005 and 2007, and it went back to Amway after that few years of being called Quickstar in North America only. And so, Bad Dog, welcome to the show. If you can just give us a little bit about your background, whatever you want to share as far as, where you're from, what you do, how you were approached by Amway or Quickstar, and just kind of get us started at that point. Go right ahead.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. Just so you know, my kid's upstairs. He's 6 and he has a loose tooth, so I don't know what's going on with that. My wife just texted me. Hopefully he's fine. So there's not much about me. I live in upstate New York. I work for the state of New York, and that's I'm just a typical 8-to-4 guy. I have the old JOB as the MLM people like to say, but yeah, man, just to go back a little bit, I graduated in 1993 from high school, so I'm not a kid. I've been around quite a while. Didn't want to go to college. I was done with my education at that point. Didn't want to do it. Just wanted to go work and make some money. Had a little job. People upstate New York will probably know it. It was a little convenience store called Stewart's. I worked there for about a year. I had a guy, he used to come in all the time, and I'd always tell him about the sale, the specials, 2 for 1 here, 2 for 1 there. And I got to know him after a year, and he said, hey, he asked me, he's like, would you like a job? He's like, I'd love you to come work with me. You're a great salesman. Now, you would think this is the Amway, the Quickstar part of it. It's actually not, because this was before Quickstar. So he actually worked for a company that sold a lot of, medical oxygen, welding supplies, and that type of stuff. So I was like, yeah. I'd be interested in being a salesman, being on the road and selling stuff. He's like, you're a great salesman. You can sell ice cream to an Eskimo. So I think I said, yeah. I went and I interviewed, and I didn't get the job. And then I would say maybe a month or two later, he came back in, and he's like, listen, the guy that we hired, the owner wanted to go with him, and he got arrested for drunk driving or something. I don't know what it was. And he said, so I want you to have the job. So this is a job that was pretty commission-based. I made, minimum wage, but I got 10% of the net. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but I'll just put it to you this way. When you're selling medical oxygen, it costs us maybe $1. I think it cost $1.79 to fill one of these tanks of oxygen, which was 244 cubic foot. It was the most common. Now, there was many different types of, gases. There was argon, there was stargon, nitrogen, acetylene, CO2, nitrous oxide. There was different size cylinders. There was a bunch of stuff that we sold. But just to, for basis, just to kind of go over my salary, it'd be, I made about $1.79 per cylinder. We sold them for $20, and I made about $1.79 for everyone I sold. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when I was a guy that was very diligent. I always wanted to be the best. I'm a competitive guy. And, back in 1995, 96, the internet was prehistoric. It wasn't like it was now. You couldn't find stuff. So what I did was I kind of looked in the phone book back then, and I looked at a lot of the competitors or places that would buy this stuff, or sell the stuff rather, in this, a certain mile radius, maybe 75, 100 mile radius. And what I would do is I would go into my competitors and I'd ask them what they sold their products for. And that way I had an idea of what I could do when I went to try to sell this stuff to other people. And I found that a lot of the places that were our competitors were selling this stuff for a lot more than we were selling it for. So it was an easy sale. Where I found money was in nursing homes. I sold a lot to nursing homes. You could sell 100 a week. You could sell 500 a month. And when you have 2 or 3 of those, what's up, buddy? Your tooth come out? Oh. All right. Well, I'll be up in a minute.
What's a minute? Because you're ready to...
I don't know. I'll be up in a minute. Come here. Sorry, guys. I told you he's dealing with a tooth thing. Where? Which one is it?
If we can interrupt, why don't you go spend a few minutes with your son, and then Scott and I will talk, and then you come back when you come back. Because it's your son. It's your son. It's his tooth. Yeah. It's a big thing, and this is not that important. So come back when you come back. Scott and I have plenty of stuff to talk about.
Okay, we'll do. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Take your time. So, Scott, we'll give him some time. If this is his son and he's got a loose tooth, and you remember what those things
absolutely.
were.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Did you have some in particular? I was going to bring up the Illuminati story.
Sure, let's do it.